Prosper Log, show date 15/01/24. How's everybody doing this week? I've been better, been worse. Super Bowl's not going to go the way I had hoped, but hey, nobody's perfect. Nothing's perfect in this world, Can't, just got to do what you got to do. All right, speaking of doing things we got to do, let's have ourselves a frickin' show, shall we? This week's sponsor of this week's entry goes to my buddy Wally Fortier of Wally's Aluminum Shaping Process. Wally, got a good friend I know through Josh Baker of Beer and Song of the Day. Wally, he makes aluminum art. He can make you a Federation emblem, Klingon Empire emblem. Star Trek's not your thing. He can probably make you something Star Wars. He can definitely make you a Broncos logo. He can make you a Colts logo. And if for some ungodly reason you want a New England Patriots logo, he can do that too. More to come on the Patriots. All right, folks. It's been a heck of a week. For my buddy Josh, I am busting out this guy. Rouge Chocolate Stout. 5.8% ABV. The way we do it here at Prosper. Proper opening apparatus. Proper technique. Here we go. Hey, I got it. All right. Make the pour. You pour it right. You're in good shape. Nope. Pop off here a little bit. Alright. Cheers to you all. Kaplach, should say the Klingon Empire. Ooh, that's a good beer. Got a good chocolate taste to it. Alright. Gotta start it off right. Gotta start out with the birthdays, as always. First birthday from the 19th. Good buddy of mine. Known him ever since I was a little fetus. Okay, a little older than a little fetus. My dear Uncle Steve. Larry S. Dimmick. Hardcore! How you doing there, bud? How's life treating you? Hope things are going well for you. Happy birthday to you. Want to know who you're rooting for in the Super Bowl? Which cheater? Cheers to you. Next on the list, on the 20th. Now, I think Uncle Steve, Grandma, and Grandpa are the only ones that can keep their two birthdays straight. I always had trouble. I knew one was born on the 19th, the other was born on the 20th. On the 20th, my dear grandmother, Ruby Dimmick. Grandma, I loved being able to FaceTime with you on your birthday. I absolutely loved it. Thank you, Dad, for making that happen. I know you don't drink, but I'll drink one for you. All right, next on the 21st. Excuse me. Next birthday we have on the 21st. My dear neighbor who taught me how to pronounce her name, Paige Rochfort. Like crotch and then furt. Paige, how are you doing? I hope your birthday was a good one. I hope Marshall spoiled you. He better have. If not, I'm going to have a talk with him. Paige, happy birthday. All right. Next on the list, on the 21st as well, my cousin through marriage, Sarah Clevenger. Sarah, sunshine, how are you doing? Hope you had a good birthday. Hope Eric spoiled the hell out of you. He'd better have. I'm going to have a talk with him, too. Sarah, I drink to you as well. Let me top this bad boy off. Now that I made some room. There we go. Perfect. All right. That brings me to the 22nd. Oh, God. I got a lot of family with birthdays this week. On the 22nd, the 22nd is no different. Gonna give love to them both. Ashley Case, my dear sweet aunt, and my brother-in-law, Matt Clevenger. I hope you two had a good birthday. I hope Grandma and Grandpa did something good for you on your birthday. To you two, I drink. The last birthday on the 22nd, my dear, sweet Vicki Shelton. Now, Vicki, I've known Vicki since our days running around in good old Germany. Vicki and her husband Andy, my last week there, as I was moving out of the house, getting ready to fly out while changing jobs, they, for the love of God, they took me into their home. God love them. They put a roof over my head. They helped me clean up my house. They were a blessing. They were a godsend. Andy, Vicki, to you too. Actually, Andy to Vicki, Vicki to you, and Andy, the Prosper salute. Thank you so much for everything you did for me. Thank you for being such good friends. And I drink to you. All right. Last two birthdays. 25th. I think Mom said she was my cousin. Cousin Diane Ryan. Diane, how are you, sweetheart? I haven't talked to you ever? I don't know. You're a distant cousin. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance. I'm sorry we haven't really had a chance to talk much. I drink to you, my dear. All right. And the last birthday on the 25th, Ben Basagalapi, or B11 as I know him. Benny, how you doing, bro? How's life treating you? Hope life's doing good for you. Ben, to you, happy birthday. Good working with you. Enjoy. All right, birthdays, Dunskies. Let's give out some additional love, shall we? This first additional greeting goes to Joe Jorgensen. Larry, how you doing, bro? I saw recently you just retired from your current job. I think your last day of work was actually yesterday. The Prosper salute to you, my friend. Congratulations on a job well done. Hope Dominique has got big plans for you when you finally get home. And a drink to you. All right. Now, these next shout-outs. Remember how I said I was going to get to the Patriots? Well, as it turns out, they're called cheaters for a reason. Turns out that during the AFC Championship game, the New England Cheaters, as I call them, had 11 out of 12 game balls that were deflated below the minimum requirements. Come on. You have something? Yeah, I was actually about to lay off calling you guys the cheaters. I was about to start, actually being nice to your fans, but you had to go and do something like that. So, Josh Boussier, I knew I was going to butcher that. Bus, Josh Baker, Mandy McKendry, all the other Patriots and Colts fans I may or may not have on my Facebook page. This next song is dedicated to you, as well as my new set piece. One thing is finally here. The Devon Still jersey. I broke the story back during the preseason, about defensive tackle Devon Still, about how Cincinnati cut him, They found out he was that his daughter was diagnosed with cancer. They re-signed him to the practice squad. Now he actually played a couple games. This is it, and this is for the Patriots fans. Patriots suck. Any team that has to cheat to meet an end gets this, and they get this. Kids like a deer.
Balls were soft and squishy when they should be firm and full. So the league is going to check again. If they find that there was tampering and the Patriots conspired, everyone will say they suck and
new permanent set piece here at Prosper.
Tom Brady's balls are very flat balls. They're deflated.
Can you all hear that? Good.
Flat balls.
Patriots suck. Frickin' cheaters. I hate cheaters. Out of the 32 teams in the NFL, the Patriots are 33 in my book.
Bounce off hands and chest, but when they're soft as shaman, they're the balls that Tom likes best. They're accused of ball deflation. If that's true,
Listen to that.
It's my belief that Tom's flat ball should be checked every height. Oh,
while we're listening to this, let's move on to this week in Trek history. Only one thing of interest this week. Actor DeForest Kelley played Dr. McCoy. Damn it, Jim. On the original Star Trek series, there are 6 movies, and made a cameo in the pilot of Encounter at Farpoint. Born January 20th, 1920, passed away June 11th, 1999. He'd have been 95 years old. Dr. McCoy, Bones, the Prosper Salute to you.
It's always something with these guys. Spygate and Ballgate.
This song is called Tom Brady's Ball. So, it was anyway. All right. Now that's done and over with. Let's move on to the historical database, shall we? This week's entry: Space Seed. The Enterprise discovers an ancient spaceship carrying genetically enhanced supermen from the late 20th century Earth and their enigmatic warlord leader, Khan Noonien Singh, who described himself once as a prince. Hence the crown. Gotta give him some love on that one. Let's go behind the scenes, shall we? Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, is the sequel to this episode, while Star Trek Into Darkness, set in the JJ verse, portrays a different set of events leading to Khan's introduction to the 23rd century. The eugenics wars and the notion of genetically augmented humans has also served as background for the animated series episode The Infinite Vulcan, as well as several episodes of Star Trek Enterprise, Borderland, Cold Station 12, and The Augments. Also in The Augments, Khan and his followers are referenced by Malik. My crown's sitting on my head funny. When he accepts the punishment of exile, Khan alludes to the rebellious angels' exile to hell in John Milton's Paradise Lost. Kirk clarifies by quoting part of Satan's speech. Here he may reign secure, and in my choice, to reign is worth ambition, though in hell. Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. Although Kirk inquires as to the exact date of the launch of the Botany Bay, he never receives an answer. The non-canon novel The Rise and Fall of Khan Noonien Singh, Volume 2, revealed that it was launched from Earth on January 5th, 1996, and began its journey through space 6 days later. Wow, just to think, that was 20 years ago, that was almost 20 days ago, almost 20 years ago. Wow, who'd have thought? In writer Carrie Wilber's original treatment, the Khan character is a Nordic Superman named Harold Eriksson. This evolved in the first draft, where the character first introduces himself as John Eriksson, but is later revealed to be Ragnar Thorwald, who was involved in the First World Tyranny. Thorwald is more brutal in this version of the story, where he dispatches the guard outside his quarters with a phaser. Wilbur used the 18th century British custom of shipping out the undesirables as a parallel for his concept of seed ships, used to take unwanted criminals out to space from the overpopulated Earth, hence the name Botany Bay. In his original treatment, the Botany Bay left Earth in 2096 with 100 criminals, both men and women, and a team of a few volunteer lawmen on board. Gene Roddenberry questioned Wilbur's notion of wasting a high-tech spaceship and expensive resources on criminals, just as Kirk and Spock posed the same question in the episode itself, and came up with the concept of a bunch of Napoleons sent to space in exile. James Blish uses the name Sybil Khan Noonien in his adaptation of the episode for Bantam Books' Star Trek II. According to StarTrek.com, an earlier version of the script had the SS Botany Bay as a CZ-100 class ship located by the Enterprise in the coal sack. There are scenes in the second revised final draft, dated December 13th, 1966, that were either unfilmed or not aired. Lieutenant Marla MacGyvers has a scene with Yeoman Baker in which Baker informs her that Lieutenant Hansen wants to go to a ship's dance with her. MacGyvers tells her to tell Hansen to get lost, that she is waiting for a man who will knock down my door and carry me to where he wants me. This Yeoman Baker then had a couple of lines in dialogue as the court recorder at Khan's trial. According to Beau Trimble's Star Trek Concordance, Barbara Baldwin's name appeared in Desilu call sheets as playing Baker. A line of Kirk at the end of the episode was scripted but cut from the filmed episode, saying he hopes Khan and his followers will not come looking after them. However, James Blish includes this as the last line of his write-up of the episode. Alright, here we go. Here's something interesting. George Takei does not appear in this episode. Neither does Walter Koenig, who plays Pavel Chekhov later on in the series, although Khan remembered him years later. There are several non-canon explanations for this, all pointing to some off-screen contact between the two characters. In To Reign in Hell, The Exile of Khan, Noonien Singh, it is revealed that Pavel Chekhov led a failed attempt to retake engineering from Khan. The script featured a female character named Baker, who was a friend of Marla MacGyver's. Her scene was filmed, and Baker was played by Barbara Baldwin, who previously appeared as Angela Martine in Balance of Terror and Shore Leave, but it ended up as a deleted scene. Several sources still claim Baldwin as appearing in the episode as Baker. I covered that already. Oh well. John Arndt, who played Fields, was a regular extra. He also played unnamed crewman in Mary and Dagger of the Mind. Excuse me. When Arndt appeared in Balance of Terror, his character was named Fields. His part seemed to have been edited out of this episode. This is the only appearance by John Winston as Kyle in which he has no dialogue. The augment hypoed by MacGyvers in sickbay was previously seen as a member of the Alpha 177 science team in The Enemy Within. He is later seen as a Klingon in the final planet scene in Kor's office in Errand of Mercy, and as another Klingon in Day of the Dove. The identity of this extra is not known. At the banquet, Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and Scotty are the only officers wearing dress uniforms. This is the only episode in which Scott wears his dress uniform without his ceremonial tartan. Lieutenant MacGyvers wears no braid on the sleeves of her uniform. Excuse me, I'm still fighting a bug. Khan goes through a record 5 changes of costume for a male cast member of the original series. He is draped in gold mesh when he is brought back to consciousness. He is then in a short-sleeved sickbay tunic while recuperating. During his scene with MacGyvers in her quarters and while at dinner, he is seen in a jacket with oval patterns. While consulting with Kirk in his quarters, he is in an Enterprise engineering tunic. And finally, when he returns to the Botany Bay, he wears the red jumpsuit of his fellow exiles. Fascinating. Although only one hallway of the Botany Bay is seen in detail, the design crew took the time and effort to build the beginnings of several other corridors with their own life support canisters, despite their only being seen for a few seconds. In this episode, the Menagerie Part 1 and the Menagerie Part 2, you can see the other end of the briefing room set. A wall with a viewing screen was added in. Usually the room is only seen from the end nearest to the door. However, the rotating viewer, usually seen on the tabletop, is missing here. One of the instruments on the back wall of the Botany Bay eventually found its way to the transporter room as a scanner, with an added viewer that was similar to the one on Spock's science station in the second season. The unique engineering clubs, one of which Kirk used to subdue Khan during their fight, were never used or even seen in another episode, nor is the collection of ancient medical instruments that adorns the wall of sickbay. The mirror that figures during MacGyver's hairdo scene, however, is seen again in The Deadly Years. The cryogenic chambers from the Botany Bay were recycled and built into the sickbay set from Season 2. Also, one of them served as a decompression chamber in The Lights of Zatar. Kirk's phaser is accidentally knocked off his belt when he smashes a glass to free the reviving Khan aboard the Botany Bay. The phaser can be seen falling to the floor when viewed in slow motion, as Kirk uses the flashlight that Scotty had been carrying in his right hand on the window. Scotty can be seen grabbing the flashlight off the transporter console just before they beam over. The effects scene featuring the Enterprise and the Botany Bay were filmed at Film Effects of Hollywood. The Botany Bay model was actually designed by Matt Jeffries before he came up with the Enterprise. He described it as an antique space freighter and put it aside for a chance to use it in the series. Footage of the Botany Bay was later recycled as the ore freighter Woden in the Ultimate Computer. Hang tight, we're almost there. Most of the music used in this episode is taken from Charlie X, composed by Fred Steiner. Some of Alexander Courage's cues from The Cage can also be heard, most notably the Telosian Illusion theme. There is a fairly egregious continuity error in this episode. Good God, that took a while to get out. In the transporter room, Scotty, wearing a red shirt, and Kyle, wearing blue, are manning the controls at the beginning of the scene. Scotty leaves to join Kirk, McCoy, and MacGyver's on the transporter pad, presumably leaving Kyle to operate the controls. Yet, we see the red-sleeved arm of Scotty activating the transporter. Good catch. One questionable take from this episode occurs when the camera pans over the mostly unconscious bridge crew as Kirk records his captain's log with commendations for the fallen crew. There are 7 visible people on the bridge, but seem to be 8 in total, with the navigator later seen in Khan's prisoner row, but not in the bridge sequence. From the beginning of the pan, it shows Spock, Uhura, Brent, played by Frank Da Vinci, Leslie, played by Eddie Paskey, a red-shirted extra, played by Ron Vito, Spinelli, and then Kirk. Kirk reads off the names of only 5 crew members. However, Uhura, Thule, Harrison, Spinelli, and Spock. Seems that one reference is intended to be to the Eddie Paskey character, but that is unlikely since Kirk mentioned both with the rank of technician first class, and Leslie's uniform has lieutenant stripes. While it is odd that Leslie and the unnamed in this episode navigator, who is sometimes referred to as Hadley, was skipped in the mentions. It leads to the conclusion that the red-shirted man was Harrison, or possibly Thule, who remains unseen, unless it was meant to refer to the blue-shirted Brent. God, that one was rough. Hey, here's an easy one to wrap it up. The preview trailer for this episode has a start date of 31/42.3. Folks, there you have it. Let me slam this guy. Almost. Devoid his life as the brain cells of a Sequest fan. Folks, it is that time. It's time for me to make my speedy departure. So everyone, take care. Have an awesome night or day. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And if you do, name it after me. Don't drink and drive because, well, you might spill your drink, but more importantly, you might kill yourself or somebody else. And drinking and driving is more illogical than being a Sequest fan. And the only thing more illogical than that is rooting for little cheaters like Tom. Hey, Bill, I forgot to inflate the balls this week. Think they'll be okay? Brady, men slapping women, racism, animal abuse, fake friends, people who welch on bets, or anyone who is a member of, defends, or supports the Westboro Baptist Church. Things like that are highly illogical, and I will not make time for them. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, may you all live long and prosper. By the way, on a side note, I got the computer fixed. Everything's recording the right way.